the greatest.
What is up, guys? Marcellus Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, here to educate you on health, fitness, social well-being. And today, guys, it's another Q&A. Going to be answering all your questions from my Instagram post on Sunday. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, make sure that you do that, so that way you'll be ready for the next Q&A, as well as just seeing the other content that I post up there. Some of it's informative, some of it's more about me, but you should follow your boy anyway, just for those of you who actually care to do so. As you guys see on screen, it's workout footage from yesterday's volume workout. Once again, my boy Derek joined me. For those of you who were wondering from the last video he was in, Derek is 230 pounds. Dude's a complete monster, complete animal. What you're seeing right now is us warming up for front squats. We actually went for a PR on this day, but then everything else was, sets of 10 to 15, as usual for a volume day. So, getting right into it, let's get started with the first question. So, SBO_CEO asks, if you could pick any one food to be 0 calories, what food would you choose? Definitely cheesecake. It's my favorite dessert. That is the easiest question in the world. Next question. Sir_Marks_lot asks, what's one goal that you're aiming to accomplish before the year is over? Definitely weighted pull-ups and dips with 200 pounds. Like, I have lots of goals that I want to accomplish both inside and outside of my training, but anytime somebody asks me that question, that's the first thing that comes to mind, is that I want to be able to perform dips and pull-ups with 200 pounds. I'm about 40 pounds away on the dips and about 55 pounds away on the pull-ups, so hopefully I reach there. Jen124_Gonzalez asks, how important is things such as mobility work and stretching when it comes to lifting weights? So, mobility is extremely important, not just for lifting weights, but really for just overall health and longevity and really any athletic endeavors you get involved in. But specifically with lifting weights is important because a lot of people aren't able to perform certain exercises because of a lack of mobility. Like, people aren't able to squat properly to depth because of hip mobility issues or ankle mobility issues. People aren't able to get in the proper position for a conventional sumo deadlift because of mobility issues. People aren't able to overhead press properly because of a lack of shoulder mobility. So mobility is very important. Stretching is also important, guys. What type of stretching just kind of depends. As far as dynamic stretching, dynamic warm-ups, I think that's very important to do before you do any type of heavy lifting. As far as static stretching at the end of a workout, it's going to depend pretty much on, are you feeling a lot of tightness, things like that. It's something that I think a lot of people should do when they first start off, but the longer you lift, kind of the less benefits you get from static stretching, because assuming you're going through a full range of motion on your movements, you're putting a pretty good stretch on the muscles already when you're doing that. But I think like just flexibility as a whole, stretching, things like that, very important for health, just like mobility. Ibra M Tour asks, is L-Carnitine legit? Yes, legit in the sense that it is a real thing. It's something that your body already produces on its own. Legit in the sense of should you take it as a supplement? Absolutely not. A lot of people do so because they've been taught that it's going to help increase their metabolism, help them burn fat more efficiently. There's absolutely no scientific evidence or research out there to back this. In fact, the only thing that we've really found when people take L-Carnitine is that they seem to drop weight because of things like vomiting, diarrhea, etc. So there's a lot of nasty side effects to it. Not worth messing with. I'd stay away from it. Jordan100_101 asks, if you reach your bulking weight goal, is it beneficial to stay maintained at that specific weight for a good amount of time, example 2 or 3 months, to make the new muscle you gain more mature so it can be less prone to being lost when you cut? So that's a good question, but it kind of would take a longer answer if I go into detail as far as muscle maturity, things like that. What I will say, guys, is that it's really more so based off how long it takes you to reach whatever that target weight is. If you're someone where, whether you're lean bulking or dirty bulking, it doesn't matter. Like, whether you put on 10, 15 pounds or 20, 30 pounds, the reality is it's about how long are you in that surplus, how long are you in that state to where you can build that new muscle tissue. If you kind of just rush to a certain amount of weight, let's say like you gained like 15 to 20 pounds in like a really short amount of time, then yeah, you may want to stick at that weight for a little bit so you just actually have time to actually be in that surplus and build some actual muscle tissue, because obviously you didn't just throw on 15 pounds of muscle in like 3 weeks, right? So yeah, in that case you may want to, but if you took your time building up to what that weight is and it was a pretty reasonable weight gain, then you may not have to stay there quite that long before you start cutting back down. So it kind of just depends. Let's see, Earl2Humble1, looks like you asked 3 questions. I'll answer one of them. Let's see, how do you feel about not getting certain PRs? How do you move past failure and wait patiently to go for the PR again? Well, as you guys can see on screen, yesterday I failed a PR of 365 pounds on front squats. I tried it with my traditional suicide grip that I use, as well as trying to get Derek's way with the straps, and quite frankly just wasn't able to keep my elbows up or like keep from rolling off my shoulders. Like, it wasn't even a matter of failing, like trying to come up with the weight. Before I even hit depth, the weight was already rolling off my shoulders, to by the time that I was at the very bottom of the hole, it just completely fell off my shoulders. And the way I move past it is understanding that failure is just a part of the process. It happens. You got to look at what part of the lift you failed, why you failed it, were you just not strong enough to do it, the amount of weight, was it a form error, whatever it is, address it, go back, build up stronger, and come back again. If anything, failing just motivates me to come back and hit it stronger, you know? Like, for me, I know that it wasn't like an issue with my leg strength or anything like that. Like, my last PR on front squats was 350 pounds. This is only 15 pounds heavier. I should be strong enough to get this. It's just a matter of making sure that my form's on point, with my back being tight, my core being engaged, keeping my elbows up so that the weight does not roll off my shoulders. Simple as that. So that's pretty much my mindset with it, guys. It's like, if at first you don't succeed, try again, and don't get so caught up in like, oh, I failed this, I'm gonna come back and try again next week. No, take the time to build, work on whatever errors you need to, and then come back and hit it hard. Why Remix asks, any tips for people with pain in the clavicles during and after the dip exercises? Yes, my advice is to stay away from doing dip exercises. And what I mean by that is, the fact is, guys, some people just anatomically aren't built to perform dips. If you're someone where you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're using proper form, you're using the proper range of motion on the movement, but you're getting pain in your clavicle or your rib cage or especially your sternum, stay away from dips. You're not built for them. It's just not a movement that you're going to be able to do effectively, because it's going to lead to injury, and that's the best advice I can give you as far as that. Mac_Wong Motivation asks, if I wanted to get a workout in with you, what would I have to do? Hit me up, man. Let me know that you're coming into the Fort Worth area, that you want to get a workout in with me, and we'll try to work something out. I'm pretty much down to work out with whoever, whenever, as long as they're down to put in some work. Bull Sweet Fitness asks, you're in the gym and you see a girl hitting 405 pounds on squat. She is doing 4x7 super clean. What you doing, thinking, saying, killer? Her body weight is 180 pounds. Well, first of all, I'm not going to approach her while she's lifting, because I ain't about that. That would annoy me if somebody did that. But please believe, as soon as she's done with that set, I'm going to go up to her and be like, hey, that's mad impressive. Your boy can only hit 405 for 3 sets of 3. Please help me get my squat up. That's pretty much how that's going to go. And, maybe we could talk about it over dinner. If she's feeling me, I'm feeling her. No, but in all seriousness, as a powerlifter, I see things like that more often than what a lot of other lifters do. And that literally would be my first thing, is like just asking her for advice on squat. Louis_G_live asks, can you still make gains with any type of set range as long as progressive overload is in the formula? Or why do you think people only go for the pump instead of the weight? So I've done an entire video over this. You guys should check that out. Basically going over rep ranges, and it's pretty much explained that all rep ranges are created equal, that whether you're doing sets of 3, sets of 8, sets of 12, it doesn't matter in terms of hypertrophy. Yes, lower rep ranges have their benefit as far as increasing your strength a little bit faster, and yes, higher rep ranges are a little bit better for endurance and conditioning, but in terms of hypertrophy, it doesn't matter if you do 10 sets of 3 with 100 pounds or 3 sets of 10 with 100 pounds. It's the same total work volume, it's the same total load. You're going to induce the same amount of hypertrophy. If I do 3 sets of 10 with a certain amount of weight versus somebody who does 4 sets of 5 with a heavier weight, and the 2 total volumes come out to being the same, it's the same amount of hypertrophy. At the end of the day, that's what volume is. Your sets times your weight times your reps. Whatever has the greater total in those numbers is going to induce the most hypertrophy, period. So the rep range itself doesn't actually matter. The whole rep range thing is a myth. The reason that people go for the pump instead of weight is because they look at all these enhanced bodybuilders who are on drugs, and they see that they don't necessarily care about getting stronger. They just go in there and try to get a pump, and they seem to get bigger, not realizing that they're getting bigger because of the drugs they're on. It has nothing to do with them chasing the pump, or because of how they're training. And then some people they go based off feel. They're like, oh, I feel like this is doing something, so it must be doing something, even if it's actually not. So yeah, progressive overload always has been and always will be the #1 key to gaining strength and gaining hypertrophy. DT Fix asks, would you do a video with a not so popular guy like myself? Yes, assuming that I like your content, dude. Like I've said on this channel several times, I'm not just about the informative content. I'm about actual fitness community, promoting fitness community, regardless of how many subs somebody does or doesn't have. It's all about your content, and if I feel like you and I would click as people. So if that lined up and worked out, and I like your content, and I like you as a person, then yes, definitely down to do a collab. Tango 2 Gold also asked about 3 questions. Let's see. I'll answer this one. What made you fall for powerlifting? The environment. So I've talked to you guys before about how I've always been focused on strength and performance, everything like that. But the main thing that I love about powerlifting more than anything else is just the environment, the people that you meet. Everyone is so genuine and supportive. Yeah, they want to win and they want to beat you, but if they beat you, they want it to be because they outlifted you, not because you failed to lift or anything like that. They want it just be because their total was better than yours that day. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a really cool, supportive, but competitive environment at the same time. And that's kind of just hard to beat. And it's hard to find that in a lot of other forms of competition. EQPZ asks, what was your sole biggest motivator, deciding factor for you to pursue fitness in the manner in which you have? Not many people begin training in preteen age. I find that interesting. Okay, so I know I said this during the last time I did a Q&A, but I am actually going to do a video over this question. You know what? Just to hold myself accountable, I will do it this week. So now you guys know I have to do it at some point this week. Not this week, today's Saturday, but this upcoming week, I have to do it. So I will get that done to answer that question. K-Day Judge 91 asks, is it possible to build muscle while maintaining the same weight? Hopefully stupid questions allowed. Not a stupid question at all, dude. The answer is yes if you're doing a body recomposition, but that's only possible in certain circumstances. If you're someone who's brand new to weightlifting, right? And let's say you keep your calories at maintenance. You don't go on a deficit or a bulk, keep your calories at maintenance. Then because your body is still brand new to the stimulus of weightlifting, you can very well build muscle and burn fat at the same time, because your body will pull energy from your fat storages to build muscle. And this kind of applies to people who are overweight as well. If they're on a deficit, if they have a surplus of energy from their body fat, their bodies can still build muscle while they're burning fat. And that can cause your weight to pretty much stay in the same area, or at least not fluctuate that much. But outside of that, you really pretty much aren't going to be able to build muscle and maintain the same weight, because muscle is putting more mass on your body. So if you're doing that, assuming you're not burning fat at the same time, you're going to gain weight as you gain muscle. Jeremy D Turtle asks, oh, never mind, already answered that question. That was something about programs, which you guys can get from me for $20 if you email TheSwolefessor@gmail.com. No, but seriously, let's see. Next question. James Hernandez, how has your degree in kinesiology benefited you other than getting a job as a personal trainer, and what did you enjoy about the time you spent working towards that degree? So before I ever got my degree in kinesiology, I was already big on reading and researching just things related to fitness, nutrition, strength, and conditioning. But what the degree did was it helped me to really learn how to discern valid fitness information from BS, which I've also done a whole video over. I strongly suggest you guys check that video out. It's very useful, because you basically learn that it's not so much the source of information that matters so much as it is the validity of the info itself. You learn what those common basic principles of exercise science are, to where if you ever see something or read something that goes against it, that it's not true. That it's not factual. It's a bunch of BS people are trying to shove down your throat. And I just enjoyed the experience of learning the ins and outs of all of that, because it allows me to more effectively read and research, so that the things I learn I can then share with you guys with confidence of knowing that it is correct. Felton Fitness asks, how do you keep up with the current research and knowledge in fitness, health, and physiology now that you're out of school? What source do you like to use? How old are you? I am 23 years old. As for how I keep up with my knowledge, guys, the internet is a great tool. It is a great resource so long as you know what you're looking for. I like to use a lot of scientific journals and research articles, a lot of exercise, science, and physiology textbooks that I still have from school, or that I can still have access to because I am a personal trainer at Texas Christian University, so I have access to a lot of their stuff as well. There's all types of sources out there, guys. It's just knowing what to look for and knowing, once again, what's valid versus what is not. Drew Go to the Juice asks, have you ever been over 15% body fat? I don't believe so, dude. I want to say that the heaviest I've probably been just right now is maybe 12, 13, but I'm just guessing. Haven't done a DEXA scan, so I'm not sure. Let's see. King_Lazar London asks, how do you feel about DUP for novices? I think the best thing that novices can do is get on a simple full body linear based program and just wear out their beginner gains. That's the best thing I think novices can do. DUP can work for them. It can work for anybody, but that's what I think novices should focus on, just getting on a linear based program, getting as strong as they can, regardless of what the rep range the program calls for. RJ_Logic asks, I've been on a push-pull legs program you made for me. Awesome program, by the way. Thank you, dude. My question is, as I increase my compound movements through weight on progressive overload, my later exercises, specifically my isolations, seem to be harder and tougher to progressively overload on. Is that to be expected? Dude, absolutely. Understand that the term diminished returns doesn't just apply to you training from year to year. it also applies to you just working out in any given session. Like, you're always going to perform better on like the first few movements that you do, which is going to make the later movements harder, just because, you know, you're not going to be as energized as you were when you first started the workout. It just makes sense, right? And that's why you do put so much emphasis and focus on the compounds first, because that's where the majority of your muscle growth and strength is going to come from anyway. The isolation movements will come with time as your work capacity builds up. And that is it, guys. Managed to get through every single question on this post. Very happy about that. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment down below letting me know that you did. If you did not enjoy the video, please leave a comment down below letting me know what I can do to get better. Like the video, share, I'm glaring at the camera, subscribe, keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch y'all later.
I am the greatest.
Someone look power! Someone look power!